be way ahead. Understand these three main rules of thumb when it comes to using ChatGPT. So the overarching rule of thumb is this, is that the answer you get from ChatGPT is only as good as your prompt. Want a better answer? You need a better prompt. Simple as that. Well, how do we make a better prompt? 3 rules. Number 1, enough context. Write context. Write as much background information and relevant examples as possible. Basically, as much data as you have about whatever you're asking, whatever that is. So whatever you're asking, don't just ask a question. Just always try to copy and paste some information, something that you already know, something that you already have, something that you could possibly even sometimes even Google. Doesn't matter what it is. Just copy and paste some relevant information related to that topic. And what that does is it helps ChatGPT better understand exactly what you want. And it's going to be more tailored towards that relevant information that you gave it. So the more context, the more tailored and insightful the response will be. Don't give it context, you're going to get short answers that are not really well thought out. You give it some context, you're going to get a lot more context. You're going to get a lot better answer. You give it even more context, then you get a lot better. The more you give it, literally the better. Number 2 is want to be specific. Be specific, descriptive, and as detailed as possible to guide the AI towards a desired response. Specific, descriptive prompts guide them more effectively towards a desired outcome, preventing generic answers. We don't want to just provide data, but we also want to provide details, adjectives, more nouns, more specific words. More specific, better response. Context and specific. Number 3, a new rule that I realized in the past couple months is provide stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness. What does this mean? That means type your heart out. Type your heart out. Don't worry about what you're saying. Don't worry whether you're correct. Don't worry if there's spelling mistakes. Don't worry if there's grammar mistakes. I put out a video a couple of weeks ago sharing that there was a research done that the AI could fully understand everything you're saying without you needing to correct your spelling or grammar mistakes. Now, it's very hard for us as lawyers to not have spelling mistakes and make sure everything is perfect. It does not have to be at all. Just type your heart out, just like you're talking to your best friend or your psychologist or whatever. Type your heart out. There are no wrong things you give it. Type your heart out. Don't hold anything back. Express your thoughts freely as if you're sharing with a confidant, or you share better AI can assist you. So open it up and talk about what you share private information. We could talk about that. That question always comes up, but share away. If you can, scribble these 3 words. This is the overarching big, and if you understand these 3, 80% of the way there to having, now it's very hard. Now it's very hard. A lot of different, give you all these different how-tos and all this stuff. Honestly, it doesn't matter. This is the framework. Context, specific, type your heart out. Good. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, actually, there's one more I'm going to add to it too, which is, and I've shared this in my prior videos, is I've said this before, don't date your GPT. Don't date ChatGPT. Don't date ChatGPT. Who has heard me say this before? Don't date your ChatGPT. Ready? Don't date your ChatGPT. What does that mean? That means don't go in there to ChatGPT and start a conversation, get what you need, leave. Now it's very hard. Date a new person, start a new conversation, get what you need, leave, start a new conversation, and do that rinse and repeat. A lot of people have found that's what they do. They treat it like it's a new. Now it's very hard. Instead, if you make the conversation ideally about one specific topic, and every time you have questions about that specific topic, you go back to the same ChatGPT conversation, and that's where you build expertise. I shared this inside of our program like a year ago to start doing this. Basically, let's just say I have questions about marketing. I have a conversation all about marketing all in here ever since the last year. So you can imagine how much information this already has about marketing that I'm doing, this blah, 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 blah. How about an agent that knows me, what we're talking about today? What about somebody, a ChatGPT that knows one of my companies? What about a social media expert? What about a Bitcoin expert? What about somebody who knows about lemon law? What I do is I usually put a little exclamation in front of it, knowing it like it's an ongoing thing. Animation video script, law firm audit, so many different things. Have that in mind. Don't start a new conversation. Let marry your GPT. Have a long-standing, committed relationship with your agent who already knows that information about that particular topic. Because why? Because it already has context and specifics. So if you continue that, you're continuously building. Now it's very hard. It gets better and better. I'm still using these ChatGPT conversations that I started over a year ago. And just imagine how specific the answers are now because it already has a year's worth of context and specifics and stream of consciousness. Now it's very hard to your ChatGPT. Put a ring on it. All right. So with that being said, also need to provide a call to action is to upgrade to ChatGPT Plus. ChatGPT Plus. So who is on ChatGPT Plus? Let me know in the chat if you're yes or no. If you're on ChatGPT Plus, I know it's very hard. If you're not, provide this call to action over a year ago. I said, don't overthink this, sign up for it. And again, people in our program know the rule of thumb, the tools. If you use it, it's worth it. If you don't use it, it's not worth it. It's definitely one of those things that's well worth it. You should be using it. So it should be a yes, yes, yes. Good. And Copilot, that's good. That's fine. Mel is not. So call to action, Mel, and anybody else is not. And don't be embarrassed if you're not. But please go and sign up for ChatGPT Plus. And I try to push it to make the right decision. Definitely want to. And sometimes it takes somebody outside of you to come and tell you something that you don't feel comfortable with to help you make the better decision. It's one of those moments. So please make sure you are on ChatGPT Plus. It's better because you have access to ChatGPT 4, which is a much better model. It's smarter, gives you better answers. And also it gives you access to GPTs. It's crucial for what we're doing today, that we're going to start doing right now, what we'll be doing next week. And it's something that you should be using to build these custom GPTs. And I'll be sharing a bunch of these that are made specifically for lawyers. And I use these every day myself. I'll be sharing these next week. So make sure you do that. Is the team option new? Sabrina asks. Yes, it is. They also do have a team option. I think it's probably well worth it at this point. If you have directors or managers or somebody who's really involved with your law firm, then yes, you might want to get them to sign up for a team and add them on to your list. But yeah, so make sure that's put out there. For me, at this point, my value of how much I would pay for ChatGPT goes up. Right now, I'm willing to pay $5,000 a month for ChatGPT. And if that sounds outrageous to you, that means you're probably not using ChatGPT enough for it to be worth $5,000 to you. So have that in mind if you're debating, is it worth $20 a month? Well, no, it's very hard. Using it as much as possible would pay a lot more than that. So maybe be worth it to do it for you to do it for $20. Have that in mind.